Hey there everyone, it's Myria Com again. I'm going to try and title this something different, just to see if that makes any difference at all. Apologies if you can hear the squirrels chattering in the background. I do have my window open, so it's nice out, so I'm leaving the window open for now. And unfortunately, that means little red squirrels are chattering a lot. So, sorry if you can hear that. But anyway, things and stuff. Very descriptive. I'm gonna try and title this something different, but this is still part of my little project to get used to the sound of my own voice, my own recorded voice, whatever. Even though it probably doesn't matter because it probably sounds different and maybe better to other people than it does to me. Woohoo! Oh, I had a little idea of something to talk about, so we'll see if this goes anywhere. Because I kind of come into these lately with an idea of what I want to talk about, and then I see if it turns into a nice long ramble or if it just is nothing. We'll see what happens. So for this one, I was kind of thinking of, and I don't remember how this came up, but somehow it came up, and came to mind. Dreams. I used to have like really, really vivid dreams when I was a kid, but I have not really had any of those in a long time. I used to think it was because I worked overnights, and so I was sleeping at a weird time, and, didn't often sleep for a full, 8 hours or whatever, however many hours. So I used to think that was why, but I've been off overnights and back to normal daytime human schedule and sleeping at night for about a year now, little over a year. And I am still not having a ton of dreams, so that's kind of a bummer, but whatever. But I used to have some really vivid dreams when I was a kid. Just as an example, there was one time I had a dream that my childhood home and my childhood elementary school gym were connected randomly. It was kind of like a horrific dream, but I didn't feel very scared of it at the time, or at least I don't think I did. I don't remember waking up from the dream, but I do remember the dream. But I hear I was scared after the dream, so that's what I hear from family members and stuff. But so the dream was, I was just hanging out at home, whatever, with my parents and my brother and my sister. I don't know if my sister was actually there. Interesting. But my brother was definitely there, and my parents were definitely there. And just hanging out, whatever. And then suddenly, these gigantic shark teeth, so it was like the bottom jaw of a shark, kind of, started coming up out of the ground and then receding back into the ground very suddenly. And when I say gigantic, I mean I don't know. I was a child, so I was like 4 or 5 or something. And I think the shark teeth were maybe like half as big as me. So whatever that means. I can't put I'm very bad at judging measurements visually, so I can't really help you out with that, but imagine a 4 or 5 year old child and giant shark teeth that where each tooth is half as big as that child. Ta-da. So anyway, but these giant shark teeth, like the bottom jaw of a shark teeth, were coming up out of the ground and then receding back into the ground. And at first I was like, okay, this is scary, but whatever. It's not it would suck to get hit by them, but it's probably fine. But then, my dad got hit by one. The shark teeth came up out of the... We were kind of, trying to dodge them and stuff. And the shark teeth came up out of the ground and touched my dad, and he immediately fell over dead. So then, my brain, in the dream, was like, oh my god, they're poison too! So... And apparently a kind of poison that instantly kills you the minute it touches you. So my dad fell over dead, and I was like, oh my god, no! And then my big brother got hit by a shark tooth, and he fell over dead, and I was just like, no! So I was dodging around. I ran into the kitchen of my childhood home, and then for some reason, like I said earlier, my elementary school gym was connected to the kitchen, so I ran into the gym, and it had, bleachers in this gym that were the fold in and fold out kind, and they were all folded in, and I was climbing up the side of the bleachers, and I was thinking, I'll be fine because I'm not touching the ground anymore, and it's fine, the shark teeth can't get me. And then some shark teeth came out of the side of the bleachers right towards my chest, and I woke up just before it hit my chest. Whoa, scary dream. I also remember, I don't remember, but I have seen since, that apparently at school, for some reason, we had, like, been talking about dreams or something, and, it was like a little project where you're supposed to draw something from a dream you've had, and I drew that dream, except instead of, like, I don't know. See, what I remember is the climbing up the side of the bleachers thing. What I drew when I was a little kid, talking about, remembering this dream, what I drew was swinging on the climbing rope, which I don't even remember being a thing in this dream. But maybe that was a thing too. I don't know. Anyway, that was a vivid dream I have had, or I had as a kid. And that's like the main one I remember. But I know I've had other ones, like there was another one that involved something from school, which is really weird. So in this dream, God, I don't even know what these are called. So this is a separate dream, by the way. Separate one. And less scary. This one was a fun dream. In this dream, we had... So there were, like, back in the 80s and 90s, these, like, stuffed toys that were, like, wrestlers, WWE wrestlers or whatever. And so they had, like, beefy arms and stuff, but they were, like, stuffed toys or whatever. So you could, like, wrestle around with them or something. I don't know. Anyway, in this dream, we had those, but they were Ninja Turtles. And this is, like, the classic Ninja Turtles, not the lame Ninja Turtles that exist now. And when I say lame Ninja Turtles, I'm mainly thinking of the live-action stuff that exists now, and not the classic stuff. The classic ones were great. And cheesy and terrible, but great. But anyway, so we had these, like, little stuffed wrestling toys, except they were Ninja Turtles. And in this dream, we were, like, playing around with them and stuff, and then suddenly they came to life, and they were the Ninja Turtles. They, like, when I say came to life, I don't just mean, oh, these little stuffed toys were alive. I mean, they turned into the actual Ninja Turtles. And we were, running around hanging out with the Ninja Turtles, and our elementary school playground was inside the community center swimming pool in this dream for some reason, and we were just hanging out with the Ninja Turtles there, and having a pizza party at the same time somehow in the pool and playground. It was a whole weird thing. I don't remember specifics about what happened in this dream, I just remember that was a thing. Yeah. So I had, like, all kinds of crazy vivid dreams when I was a kid. And there are times I really missed that, because that was fun. Then you could wake up and be like, oh my gosh, that was cool. Even the scary stuff was, like, looking back on it, it's kind of cool. I'm just like, how did my brain come up with that craziness? Wild. I don't know, those are the two, like, main ones I can think of, where there's actually, like, still detail in my brain. I also used to have dreams where I wouldn't really remember the dreams after waking up, but later on in life, and I've heard that this is not, oh, that wasn't a dream, that was something else, but this is how I perceive it, and this is how I remember it. I also used to have, this has not happened in a long, long time either, but I used to have dreams that were like, where I wouldn't remember the dream after waking up, but I would, notice this later. And it would be very boring stuff. It would be something like, oh, I just looked over at my cat, and he did a specific thing. He itched his ear in a specific way that he doesn't normally do it. And I would be like, oh, I remember that. I had a dream about that. It's never very helpful. It's never, like, the most important thing, but yeah. Or, like, watching someone turn on a light, and I'm just like, oh, I remember seeing you click that chain to turn on that light. I've had a dream about that before. Wow. A lot of people will call this, like, deja vu or whatever, but I don't perceive it as, like, oh, this is weird, I've seen this before. I perceive it as, I have literally dreamed this before, and I remember dreaming it. Yeah. But that hasn't happened in a long, long time. Most of my dreams as an adult have been very, very boring. Like, when I worked at my last job, which was mainly word processing, but some other stuff as well. I used to have dreams every now and then that would be like just me sitting at work, working on a document, formatting something, or proofreading something. And then I would wake up and be like, man, don't I get enough work at work? But yeah, that's what most of my adult dreams have been like. That, or on occasion I will get like an anxiety dream where it's like some crazy thing. I do vaguely recall an anxiety dream I had a couple years ago that was like I was back in high school band for some reason. And we were on a trip. I couldn't tell you where we were. It was a dream. Who cares? We were on a trip and like I had forgotten literally everything. I didn't have my uniform, I didn't have my instrument. And the whole time I was just like, oh my god, my director's gonna be so mad at me for not bringing any of my things. Doesn't make any sense that the director would have let me go on the trip without having any of my things. Like, why? Why was I thinking about this while I was already on the trip? But that's a dream, and it was an anxiety dream, so it was whatever. But I actually think that dream ended up turning out okay, because if I remember right, like, other people had brought extra things, so I ended up being able to do all of the things anyway, because someone had brought an extra instrument and someone had brought an extra uniform, or whatever, for an anxiety dream that actually turned out kind of okay, which is weird. But yeah, I don't remember the last time I had a dream I could remember right now. Like, it's just been too long, and that's kind of a bummer. I miss stuff like that. I feel like I haven't had a lot of creativity in my life lately. I say that, but like, before I had my shoulder injury, I was knitting daily. And that's creative. And I kind of always have like stories going in my head and stuff. I just never write them down. Part of that is because a lot of it is fan fiction or based on like other things. So it's, I'm not going to write it down because it ain't worth it if I'm not going to publish it at this point in my life. That's not fair. Fan fiction is worth it. I should write some more fan fiction, actually. But I am realizing this is probably not going to be a very good recording because I was not holding the phone very close to my face. So it's probably not going to be very good. And I apologize if it's bad. But I should be getting... My new laptop should be coming in the mail tomorrow. I'll probably have to come home from work once I get the notification that it has been delivered, because I don't really trust people enough to just leave it on my front step. Maybe I should just trust people, but I don't think I do. We'll see what time it is. Maybe it won't come until the evening. That would be ideal. But, yeah. Yeah, dreams. I miss having really vivid dreams. I don't, to my knowledge, I don't think I ever, seriously had any really crazy nightmares as a kid. I've never really had one as an adult. Maybe I'm lacking something to not have nightmares. I don't know. Or maybe that's good. Maybe there are people out there who are saying, you've never had a nightmare? That's crazy and awesome. You should feel lucky. I don't know. I kind of like scary things, so maybe that's why I haven't had a nightmare. I don't know. Interesting. I guess there is one other thing that happened to me as a kid, and it happened at night, but I was definitely awake. It's more of this is sounding creepier than it needs to. That sounds very creepy. It's nothing bad. It's a waking nightmare kind of thing, but it wasn't that bad. And I don't think it was a big... I was definitely awake, but I must have been half asleep or something. The thing and it's not even that long or very exciting, but I remember waking up. It was the middle of the night still. It was very dark in our the room I shared with my sister, and I sat up. And at the foot of my bed, or towards the foot of my bed, but back a little bit, so it was kind of shadowy and you couldn't really see what it was, just the outline of something. there was something, and then I saw it, like, start taking, like, slow, I would say stomping steps, but they weren't loud. It was just like it was moving towards me with that kind of cadence. And this doesn't make any sense, but it was okay. If you have ever seen, it's the dog puppet from Fraggle Rock. And I should say the original Fraggle Rock, because I don't know if that puppet is the same or even exists in the newer one. But I know the original one, it was that dog puppet. And I know it has a name and I can't think of it. But it was that puppet, but like walking on two legs and wearing like a vest of some kind. And it was walking towards the foot of my bed, towards me, out of the darkness of my room. And with each step it was taking, it was saying, Winifred, 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 Winifred. And then it just wasn't there anymore. So, yeah. And I don't know why it was saying Winifred. That is not my name, just in case you're wondering. I do not know anyone named Winifred. So I have no idea what that was about, but yeah. Again, like, not exactly a nightmare, but something that was like a waking dream of some kind and is really weird and has stuck in my mind all of these years, even though I don't know what it was or what it meant or anything. It's actually kind of weird that I had so many vivid dreams as a kid. Well, maybe not, but like, I shared a room with my sister and she often got sick during the night. Like, she had some stomach issues. Really funny, because I have a lot of stomach issues now, but I don't know if we ever, like, seriously found out what caused it or anything like that, but she used to get sick a lot as a kid. And so I feel like I never got a good night's sleep as a kid. Because it would always be, like, I would have to go wake up my parents or wake up my dad or whatever. My mom worked nights. I'm sensing a theme here. But, yeah, I feel like I never got a good night's sleep as a kid, so I'm wondering how I ever had any dreams. But yeah, anyway, it was just interesting. I don't know. Maybe I should talk about my childhood more. Maybe that would be interesting to people. Do I have anything interesting to talk about? There were some kind of crazy things that happened when I was a kid. A little bit of me is trying to pad this out, kind of, because I noticed that my longer recordings have more views, even though they are not long views. But hey, people are at least clicking on stuff. But that's part of why I'm thinking of doing a different title for this one. Something about dreams, probably. Just to see what happens with that. Maybe I can crack a crazy code and figure out how to make YouTube a thing that can help me more. I don't know. My goal was never to try and monetize this or anything, so, I mean, it's whatever, but would be nice if a little hobby turns into something that can make me a little side money somehow. If anyone did listen to this, I would be curious to know if you have any, like, cool dreams from when you were a kid, or maybe from when you're an adult. Maybe you have awesome dreams as an adult. That would be cool. I would love to hear about that, actually. Like, man, I would just love to have another cool dream that makes no sense, but is still awesome. That would be cool. Even a dream like the shark tooth dream would be cool to have again. Just to know that my brain can still come up with that kind of craziness. But yeah, I will cut it off there, because this has gotten long, and I'm gonna have to edit it now, and it's later than I would like it to be, but, you know, whatever. I need to stop ending my sentences with, you know, whatever. But yeah. I also need to stop saying, but yeah. If you listened, I appreciate it. If you have anything to add, you can leave a comment, or whatever. I am not really planning on sharing socials here, unless I really get a lot of traction somehow. Then maybe I will, but whatever. Not important to me right now. But if anyone did listen, I appreciate that. And I hope you have a good rest of your week. And I will chat at you again tomorrow. This has been my Ria Com. Bye.